He said it on national television. Just for fun. Not a slip. Not a misquote. The President of the United States sat down with NBC to discuss a war that has killed 13 American service members, injured over 200 more, and closed the most critical oil waterway on Earth, and told the anchor he might bomb Iran's infrastructure again just for fun. That is a direct quote. For words that should end a presidency. For words that every adversary on the planet just bookmarked. While he was saying that, American embassies were under fire. Iranian drones were navigating freely through Camp Victory in Iraq, finding their targets, striking with precision. Not a single major ally on Earth was willing to stand next to the United States. And the coalition Trump described on camera, the one where many countries would send warships, does not exist. France denied it. Turkey rejected it publicly. Italy said, keep us out. The United Kingdom was told to get its ships away. Not one agreed. Two realities are colliding in plain view. The reality Trump constructs on camera, where Iran's military is 100% destroyed and everyone is begging to make deals with him. And the reality on the ground, where American installations are burning, allied nations are building routes around Washington, and the man who started this war cannot explain what victory looks like or articulate a single term of any deal. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly what happened in that NBC interview, walk you through 3 receipts that expose the gap between Trump's words and the world, and explain why the decision that may define this entire conflict is one Trump made quietly, and nobody is connecting to the body count. Think about this for a moment. Imagine you have a business partner. For a year straight, that partner threatened your clients, insulted your suppliers, tariffed your products, and threatened to annex your territory. Then one day, he calls you in a panic asking you to send everything you have to bail him out of a disaster he created. How long before you stop answering the phone? How long before you start building relationships with partners who do not treat you like a subordinate? Hold that thought. Because that is exactly what is happening right now between the United States and every one of its traditional allies. Drop your answer in the comments. At what point does an ally become a liability you simply cannot afford? Let us rewind the clock. The chain of events that led to this moment did not begin with Iranian drones over Baghdad. It began with a U.S.-Israeli strike operation that Trump greenlit, an operation his own top generals explicitly warned could trigger exactly the cascade we are now watching in real time. The intelligence assessments were clear. Strike Iran this way, and they will shut down the strait. They will hit back across the region. They will escalate. Trump was told all of this. He rushed in anyway. Iran responded by doing precisely what the generals predicted. They struck across the Middle East and functionally closed the Strait of Hormuz. Trump told NBC he was very surprised that Iran attacked other countries in response. Surprised by the outcome his own military leadership put in writing on his desk before he gave the order. Now let me show you the 3 receipts. Because this is where the gap between the performance and the reality becomes impossible to bridge. Receipt number 1. The diplomatic fabrication. Trump told NBC that Iran is begging to make a deal with him. His exact framing: they want to make a deal desperately with me. But he does not want to do a deal yet because the terms are not good enough. When the anchor asked the obvious follow-up, what terms are they offering and what would you need to see, Trump refused to answer. He could not answer because the entire premise is a fabrication. Iran's actual negotiating position has been stated publicly and repeatedly. Full reparations for strike damage. American military bases removed from the Middle East. Security guarantees. Control of the strait. Iran's foreign minister went on television and said plainly that the Strait of Hormuz is open, just not to American, Israeli, and allied ships. Others are free to pass. That is not desperation. That is leverage. Multiple nations are now negotiating directly with Tehran, bypassing Washington entirely, because they see the United States not as an honest broker, but as an obstacle. Trump also claimed he is working with other countries on a coalition to secure the strait. France immediately denied it. Turkey stated publicly it would never be involved. Italy said, keep us out. The coalition he describes on camera does not exist in any operational form. He spent a year tariffing the world, threatening sovereign nations, and alienating every potential partner he now desperately needs. And now he is on television describing a coalition that every member of that supposed coalition has publicly rejected. Receipt number 2. The military reality demolishing every White House claim. Trump has stated repeatedly that 100% of Iran's military capability has been destroyed. Now set that claim next to what is actually happening on the ground. Tel Aviv is being struck harder than at any point in Israel's recent history by a combination of Iranian and Hezbollah strikes. The U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad was hit by Iranian drones. A Shahed drone was captured on video flying through Camp Victory in Iraq, navigating freely, finding its target, striking with devastating precision. A Giraffe 1X radar system designed specifically to counter these drones was destroyed in the process. Black smoke rose from the UAE's port of Fujairah, the country's only oil export terminal outside the strait, after an Iranian strike. Kuwait reported drones striking its international airport. And now the interceptor crisis that makes all of this exponentially worse. Israel has formally informed the United States it is running critically low on ballistic missile interceptors. U.S. officials told reporters that Washington had been aware of this for months. One official described it as something we expected and anticipated. If you anticipated running out of interceptors, why did you rush into this war? If the U.S. is not facing a similar shortage, why are Patriot and THAAD systems being pulled from South Korea and repositioned to the Middle East right now? The United States is staring at a munitions crisis in real time. 100% of Iran's military is destroyed. The drones are still flying. The interceptors are running out. Someone is not telling the truth. Receipt number 3. The Zelensky betrayal and the Russia connection. This is where the picture stops being about incompetence and starts raising a question that nobody in Washington wants to ask out loud. During the same NBC interview, Trump attacked President Zelensky, calling him far more difficult to deal with than Putin. He said the last person he needs help from is Zelensky. He does not want his help at all. Here is the context Trump does not want you to have. Zelensky offered the United States drone interceptor technology and satellite targeting systems designed to counter the exact Shahed drones that are devastating American positions across the Middle East. Ukraine has become arguably the most experienced nation on earth at neutralizing these weapons because Russia has been firing them at Ukrainian cities for years. The U.S. military formally requested this assistance. Zelensky agreed. Trump personally blocked the transfer. Now layer on the Russia dimension. Trump lifted sanctions on Russian oil against the explicit wishes of the entire G7. 6 other major economies said absolutely not. Trump did it anyway, at the exact moment Russia is publicly helping Iran target Americans. Zelensky confirmed this to major media outlets. Ukrainian intelligence verified that Russian-made components are inside the drones hitting American bases. Russian intelligence is being shared with Iran to locate American troops and assets. Russia has explicitly stated that if the West helps Ukraine, Russia will help the Iranian regime. The picture in plain view is this. Trump helps Russia sell oil. Russia helps Iran kill Americans. Trump rejects the one ally who knows how to stop the weapons Russia is supplying. In my First Amendment protected opinion, this convergence of decisions represents the most strategically destructive pattern I have ever witnessed from an American commander-in-chief. The underlying facts that inform that opinion are not disputed by anyone paying attention. If this analysis is connecting dots you have not seen assembled anywhere else, you are already ahead of most people watching this unfold. Hit subscribe right now. This is moving faster than any single outlet can track, and you need to be here when the next chapter drops. Now look at the contrast. Because this is where the real picture becomes undeniable. On one side, you have leaders across Europe, the Middle East, and Ukraine doing what serious strategists do. Building networks, negotiating directly with each other, creating bypasses around Washington because they have concluded that the United States under this administration is not a reliable partner, but a variable they need insurance against. Zelensky offers drone defense expertise while conducting a successful counteroffensive with Ukrainian-developed technology. Iran's foreign minister conducts international media tours laying out clear and consistent terms. Gulf states open back channels. Nations are maneuvering, adapting, building new routes without waiting for Washington to find its bearings. On the other side, you have a president governing through blunt force and fabrication. Tariffs on allies, threats against sovereign nations, sanctions relief for the country arming your enemy, social media declarations of total victory while embassies burn. He posted that many countries would send warships. Not one agreed. He claimed total destruction of Iran's military while drones were navigating freely through American installations. He rejected Zelensky's help while Americans were dying from the weapons Zelensky's forces know how to stop. And when asked about Iran's new supreme leader, Trump said he does not know if he is even alive, that he is hearing he is not alive, and if he is, he should surrender, then called it just a rumor. Contradicting himself within the same answer on camera, broadcast to every capital on the planet. That is not strength. That is a man who has lost the thread entirely. So what does this actually mean for you? Gas prices are climbing. Trump told NBC he is not concerned at all. He said things may be clogged up a little bit, but we will be unclogged very soon. Roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz every single day. If you drive a car, heat your home, or buy anything that moves by ship, the strait closure is already in your budget whether you recognize it yet or not. And here is the structural reality that outlasts any ceasefire. When nations build energy relationships directly with Tehran and restructure supply chains to bypass Washington, those new trade routes do not disappear when the shooting stops. They become permanent features of the new landscape. The contracts follow the new routes. The investment follows. The jobs follow. And they do not come back simply because the politics eventually calm down. Where does this go from here? 3 paths. Scenario 1 is managed de-escalation. Back-channel negotiations brokered by Gulf states or China produce a framework. Iran pauses strikes. The U.S. quietly scales back. Both sides claim victory. But the structural damage to American credibility is already locked in. The direct channels nations built to Tehran during this crisis, the diplomatic bypasses around Washington, the energy partnerships restructured without American involvement, those become the new architecture. The old order does not reassemble itself because 2 leaders shook hands. Scenario 2, as analysts watching these dynamics assess, is broader realignment. More nations follow the pattern already visible. They stop waiting for Washington and build their own security and energy arrangements. Russia and China consolidate influence in the space American credibility vacated. The United States remains the largest single military power, but it is no longer the unquestioned center of the system it spent 80 years building. Scenario 3 is the one nobody wants to name out loud, but that every serious defense ministry is quietly modeling. Escalation spirals beyond anyone's ability to contain. A carrier group is struck. A direct hit on a major population center triggers an uncontrolled response. An accidental engagement pulls in a third country. Alliances fracture under forced choices no government wanted to make. This is the scenario that Trump's pattern of behavior, bombing for fun, rejecting help, fabricating coalitions, praising the adversary arming your enemy, makes more probable with every passing day. Here is what I need you to sit with. The American order, as it existed before this war, is not coming back. Even if Trump reversed every decision tomorrow, the lesson has already been absorbed by every watching capital. You never build your entire security architecture around a partner who describes bombing as entertainment. You never stake your national defense on someone who lifts sanctions on the country supplying the weapons killing his own soldiers. And you never again assume that the most powerful nation on earth has a plan simply because its leader sounds confident on camera. Iran did not manufacture this crisis alone, but it has proven remarkably effective at letting an impulsive adversary defeat himself, one press conference at a time. Did Trump dismantle American leadership, or did it collapse under the weight of its own contradictions? Is anyone actually winning this war, or is the whole world losing? And when a president calls war fun while his soldiers